Been told not to go to the favelas here in Brazil, but here we are going to the favelas in Brazil.
Digital travel scams are on the rise.
I will, in fact, walk around with my iPad. Come get it, bitch. I dare you.
The people that I was going to Brazil, every single person was like, you're gonna die there. You're not coming home. Like, you're gonna die there. It's sketchy as fuck.
You guys, it's your girl Sandy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of The World is Ghetto. Welcome back, guys. Before we take you to the streets of Brazil, I want to say this. Thank you so much. We have reached 22,000 subs, y'all. Ooh, clap, 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 clap. Thank you so much for that. Like, it's so amazing to see how I've grown so much. And thank you so much for my day ones. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. So as we take you to the streets of Brazil, a lot of y'all might not know, but it's located in South America and it's considered the world's 5th biggest country by area, because Brazil is big and it's beautiful. So we'll be taking it there and we'll be looking at different people's trips, vacations, and just looking from a different lens. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people are going to Brazil, a lot of people have different experiences, so we'll be just learning like we usually do. So with that being said, I hope you guys are comfortable. I hope you guys got that before y'all watch this video, because we about to catch some tea. We better catch some tea. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into it.
At least $290,000. That's how much this man, a Brazilian luxury travel agent, is being accused of taking from people who thought they were booking the holiday of a lifetime. For the past year, the BBC has been investigating how dream trips that he promised on his Instagram page and at glitzy PR events turned out to be nightmares. This is Adrian, a Brazilian living in London, and she met Rafael online and was persuaded to spend much more than she ever would on a luxury group holiday. When she arrived in Greece, Adrian and 13 of her family members and friends were left stranded at the airport with no hotel bookings. The BBC has spoken to 20 people who say they were scammed by the travel agent and to one lawyer who was representing 50 people, and he told us that he hasn't filed suit yet because the victims keep coming. So how did he do it, and how did he get people to trust him? Rafael portrayed himself as this wealthy, well-connected individual to basically convince people to trust him with their money. He claimed to have gone to these exclusive boarding schools in the UK and in Switzerland, but the schools have never even heard of him. Rafael Bessa declined to meet us for an interview, but here's some of what he emailed us. And he's not a one-off either. The UN told the BBC that digital travel scams are on the rise.
Hello everyone, I'm going to make a vlog today talking about my trip to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And this is not the best story. I got there on February 28th, went out that night with a couple friends. I solo tripped and I went with a tour group. And I knew that I had to not drink very much. I had to be very conscious of my surroundings, but I was still trying to have fun and make sure I didn't get pickpocketed. I was making sure to always tap my pockets, had my hands in my pockets with my stuff for a lot of the time. And then staying with your group. Did all of that the first night, and I felt I was being very careful. I volunteered to call the Uber back to the hostel. And for some reason, the Uber pickup spot was a 5-minute walk away. And so I started to walk over there, and I had to wait at an intersection, and the light turned from green to red, so I stopped and took a step back. I was on the edge of the curb, and when I was on the edge of the curb, a motorcycle about 400 feet away turned its lights on and booked it towards me, and I thought that it was going to hit me, so I took an extra step back, just thinking that he was just trying to drive on the road, and he snatched my phone out of my hand and took it, and I realized it right away. I tried to run after him. This was someone on a motorcycle. There was nothing I could do. When that first happened, the adrenaline going through my body, I was shaking. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. It's gone. There's no way I'm going to get it. The feelings, I was frustrated. I was depressed. I was really anxious. I was full of like despair and like, how did I let this happen? And so because I was with other people, I was still able to get back to the hostel, and we erased my phone and marked it as lost. and Apple says that it'll be deleted on March 31st. I don't know why it takes a month for that to happen, but thinking that was all right, we did day 2. I was anxious that whole day. We went to Christ the Redeemer, Sugarloaf Mountain, the steps, and I was like, everybody took photos for me and of me because I didn't have the phone, and it was amazing that I really appreciated everyone, and got my phone at Apple. And here's lesson number 1: if you lose your phone and you didn't bring your MacBook and you don't have access to another iCloud device, or you can't call someone where it would be unlocked, do not get a new iPhone. I bought this iPhone thinking I could call and still take pictures, and I was not able to because it wouldn't let me log into my iCloud. It wouldn't let me get past. It wouldn't let me sign in because I had to do two-factor identification. And the fact that Apple makes you do two-factor identification either with your email or your phone number when I have access to neither because my phone was gone, to me is ridiculous. There's got to be a way when you lose your phone and to access it again without doing two-factor. Anyways, so I didn't use the phone. I wasted it. It costed like $700 more in Brazil than it does here. So that sucks. And my insurance, I just found out, does not cover lost phone. But what I would get, I was able to update my parents the next day because, and I was asking, just let them know like what happened. The day after, they contact the company to have me call them right away, and my bank account had been cleaned out. So I was on the phone with my bank for 40 minutes. Luckily, I had memorized the last 4 of my bank account so that they were allowed to access that one, and they put the claim in. But I wasn't able to ask them about my other accounts, like my Roth IRA, because I didn't know the 4 digits of that account. So crossed my fingers. I was like, there's nothing else to do. I have one working card, an Amex, and some of their currency, and I can survive the rest of the trip. And I get back home, and I go to my bank, and I talk to a banker, and I'm like, I want to check on my Roth IRA. And they tell me a number, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Can I please speak with a banker? And they're like, oh yeah, like there was a one-time withdrawal of basically my entire account. And so I was like, wow, this is like my life savings, and it's all just gone. And I'm hopeful that I'll get it back, but I don't know. I still was able to enjoy my trip, but I just want other people that go to Brazil to know that, to learn from my mistakes, don't stand close to the curb. Because all these people on these motorcycles, they will just snatch it out of your hand. Whenever your phone is out, someone can and is looking to snatch it out of your hand. So just because you think you've gone to another country and you've been safe, that doesn't matter. It can still happen, and you need to be careful each and every time. I'm also making this video to let all my friends know because I am pretty traumatized, and I don't want to have to continue to tell this story that I've already told to cops, insurance agents, my tour guides, all the people on the tour, some friends already, my parents, the list goes on. I don't have any text messages or anything. If you texted me between February 28th to March 5th, all that's deleted. I don't know. I wasn't ignoring you, but I can't even see if you reached out. And that's it. Thank you.
That's how I felt as a Black woman traveling solo in Salvador. Now, Salvador is a place in Brazil that everybody told me I would love and I would really feel comfortable in, and nobody lied. They were 100% correct. As a Black American specifically traveling in Salvador, I felt so comfortable. Like, there's not any other place where I've been where I felt so at home. Like, I immediately blended in. People were so nice and welcoming. Like, in general, I feel like Brazilians are quite welcoming. In Salvador, I thought it was on another level. So as a solo traveler, I was always comfortable. People went out of their way to make sure I was doing all right. People were always willing to help me out. And I found it fairly easy to navigate the city. Even being by myself, I felt totally safe walking around pretty much everywhere by myself. I mean, it's easy to blend in, so that also helps a lot with safety. And if I wasn't walking, I was taking Uber because Uber I found affordable for me coming from the US dollar, and also was super convenient. But overall, I feel like this has to be probably one of the best places I've ever been as a Black solo traveler. I really cannot emphasize it enough. Like, people are not coming here as much as I feel like they should, especially Black Americans. Black Americans, if you're looking at some place to go, you need to look into Salvador, Brazil. It is just incredible. You have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, I got punched in the face in Brazil, in Rio, during Carnival. So my friend and I were trying to look for a public toilet at 1 a.m. and we couldn't find one anywhere. So we decided to go to the beach. There were heaps of people around. And so he went to pee in the ocean and I held his phone and his wallet. I wasn't far from him, but I was just facing the other way. And then I saw these 2 guys running towards us. And I was drinking at the time. I was 22. I was really young and I didn't know any better. This sounds really stupid, but I thought they were coming over to be our friends. And then one of the guys started pulling the phone and the wallet out of my hand, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't let go because the people pleaser inside of me didn't want to lose my friend's phone and wallet because I would feel really guilty, which is actually so silly now that I look back, because obviously my friend would have wanted me to prioritize my safety. I tried to call out to my friends that was still peeing in the ocean and he couldn't hear me, and the other guy went around and tripped him, so he was face down in the ocean peeing. And then I still hadn't let go of the phone and wallet, so the guy punched me in the eye and I fell to the ground, and my friend came over and he was like, but how are we going to get home? So then the guy opened up the wallet and gave us our train ticket back. This is really embarrassing, and my friend and I always laugh so much about this, but with the train card, my friend took it and he was pretending it was a camera and pretending to take photos with the card of them like running back to sit with their friends as like revenge. And at the time we were like, yes, like this will make them feel scared. I don't know, like obviously we were in shock, right? So our logic was out of our brains, okay? Those two guys ran back to sit with a group of their friends that were like 100 meters away. We could still see them, but it was like such a large group of people. There were so many people around who saw the incident, and there were cops around the corner. So we went to them and we told them what happened. They didn't speak English, but there was a random girl that was translating, and we were like, we can literally see the person who has the phone, but they literally didn't care. And something felt off, like something didn't feel safe. So my friend and I just decided to leave to go back to the hostel. We got back to the hostel and they were like, you need to go to the hospital, and luckily there was one within walking distance. So we walked there, and the hostel was like, you're not meant to go to the beach at night, like it's really unsafe for tourists, which we didn't know because obviously in Australia you just assume that beaches are safe, and also there were so many people around, so we just really didn't think that anything would happen. And then I couldn't see out of my eye for 5 days. It was shut and it was black, but luckily there were no long-term effects from it. It could have been so much worse, and also they could have punched me in the mouth, my teeth could have fallen out, and then I would have had to get surgery or something. So actually it was the best outcome in the end. And when my friend retells this story, he's like, yeah, I jumped into defense, but no, you were face down peeing in the ocean. But yes, that is the story of why I got punched in the face in Rio.
I almost got robbed in Brazil. Okay, so this past summer, I went to Brazil with a friend. Well, technically I went alone, but then my friend met me there because he gets free flights. But anyway, we weren't really sure what to do. Like anytime I go on vacation in a new area, I never like do touristy things. I kind of just like go on Grindr and find a local to use as a tour guide. And that's kind of exactly what we did. You know, like we're not doing this guy, by the way. Like we literally are just like, where's the friends at? Tell us what to do, because we're not here to see museums. We're here to get fucked up and do the appropriate things that a real Brazilian should be doing. Anyways, we went out with this guy one night, and then the second night he's like, okay, let me show y'all like where the actual Brazilians go, because we were in Sao Paulo, and like where we were at was like, I mean, not that it's like a super touristy area, but like he was just telling us this is a cooler area to go. This is where actual Brazilians go. Obviously, we know you're supposed to exercise caution anytime you're in a new environment. I don't believe in that. As someone that's frequently in LA and New York, I will in fact walk around with my iPad. Come get it, bitch. I dare you. And we were doing just that. So like I knew we were going to a street that like you shouldn't be super flashy on, but I had Gucci shoes on, a gold chain, an open shirt, so I kind of looked like a slut too. I think that's kind of what did it. And also, like, not to mention, I brought out my phone like every 3 seconds to take a video of us like doing random shit. Basically, the street he takes us to is just like a bar after bar after bar with like a lot of outdoor seating. There had to have been like 500 people outside. I'm not even kidding you. Like it's like shoulder to shoulder, like hella people. Like Brazilians don't play about partying. I'll get into that another time. I was going good, and then like, you know, we were just like over it at one point, and we're like, okay, let's go home. So we walked here, by the way. We didn't like drive or Uber or anything or take a subway. We were going to walk back home now, okay? In order to get home, it makes more sense to go down this semi-dark alley, because like, you know, otherwise you have to walk like extra, you know? So we were just like, how about we go down this dark alley? What could possibly go wrong? It's me and my friend, our other friend we met from Grindr, and he has another friend too that he brought with him, you know? And we're all just, you know, walking 4 homosexuals down the alley. And eventually, like, this group of like 7 or 8 really sexy Brazilian guys come around us. They swarm us, and basically they're telling us in Portuguese to like run our shit. Like, my friend doesn't speak a word of Portuguese. I barely speak Portuguese. So I was just like, we literally just looked at the robbers like. Then the other 2 friends, our Brazilian friends, they just ran off. Me and my friend, we just stayed looking at those sexy Brazilian robbers like. The funny thing was, it was 7 to 8 of them, but they're just like 5'5", and you know, like me and my friend are like 6 foot tall. So like 2 of them equals like 1 real man. It was genuinely like really cute, but they didn't have knives, definitely didn't have a gun. So I was just like, so me and my friend were literally just like, Then we go back to the main area, you know, like where it's not a dark alley, where the 500 people are. And that was it. That was literally it. We just walked the other way. We're like, okay, guess we can't go down this alley. Well, anyways, that's how I almost got robbed in Brazil.
So I just had to step in and talk about the guy who was talking about he could flaunt this iPad and the phone in the streets of Brazil because he's so used to the LA streets and Rio. But like, I mean, LA, and he talked about what, New York as well. But like, the difference is, all I can say with this situation of y'all electronics is like, let's be for real. As a person who's been living in America for a long ass time, everyone and a mama has an iPhone, an iPad. Even damn near 3-year-olds, you see them with big ass iPads. Everyone has an iPhone and iPad. There's no reason to steal no goddamn phone here. So I think it's the thing where we have that mentality. We're so used to, you're living in a society for a long time, you're used to just whipping your phone out, but you have to understand that these countries that you guys are going to, most are considered third world country. I don't know who came up with that name, but third world countries, they considered like, they've not developed to an extent, and most of them use tourism to gain some money for their countries. So just make sure you're not flaunting these out there, because you can't expect it to be the same as America. You can't just go flaunting your iPad. Even your kids, you can just have in the, like here, you can have your kid can have their iPad in the mall, at freaking the movies, out in the street. Nobody's gonna come and snatch them, unless maybe you're in a dangerous area, obviously. But most of the times it's like a rare case of just somebody snatching your iPhone in the streets, because everybody has an iPhone, everybody has a phone basically. So yeah, so I would just say, when you go into these countries, be more cautious. Don't have that attitude where he's talking about, oh, I'll be to LA, I'll be to New York. It's a different type of thing there though. It's so different. You're not gonna notice, because it's a whole different language. They move different. So I know you're used to how people move in LA and New York, but like, this is a whole different culture. You don't know how they move. You don't know how sneaky they be, bruh. You don't know who they're working with around you. So just be careful. Let's keep moving.
Bro, these fucking kids. I'm on the beach in Ipanema, and this kid comes to me with this whole sad story, and he wants some money, and he's selling sweets, and he's like super polite. So it's like, fuck it, I'll buy some sweets, who cares? And then I don't have cash. He's like, okay, well, I can get a friend who has a card machine, and then you can pay him and he can pay me. I'm like, that's fine. So he comes with a little blue card machine, and he's like, yeah, you can put your card here, and it doesn't say the amount. I'm not dumb, so I'm like, okay, give me the card machine. So still no amount, I cannot find it anywhere. So I put my card in, because then I need to put my code, and at least I can check the amount. The amount pops up. I was supposed to pay him 7 reais. He tried to charge me 1,000. So I told him in Portuguese, I'm like, vai embora, like, leave. He's like, what, like super sweet kid behavior. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, leave now. And he's like, shut the fuck up, like, you must be careful, you're in Brazil, don't fuck with me. Like, this 14-year-old boy just turned on me, and he's like, you should be careful around you. So if anything happens, it was the 14-year-old on Ipanema Beach selling fucking sweets.
Just recently went to Brazil, and it was literally a movie. And I say that because I got robbed. How did I get robbed? I was with 2 of my friends. I left them. I was a little tipsy, and I don't know, I just wandered off, I think, to go take a piss somewhere. And like, this little kid, probably like 10, 12 years old, was selling me gum. He had like a little like tray full of like gum, candy, stuff. And then he's talking to me, like asking me where I'm from, and I don't understand anything because he's talking to me in Portuguese. So I'm just like, and so then that kid out of nowhere, within 30 seconds of talking to me, snatches my necklace, and it came off so easily, and he runs, and towards the corner there was 3 people like standing there. Well, not 3, it was like 2 or 1, I couldn't really see. But they're just standing there, and the little kid just runs towards them, and he's gone. I was starstruck, I didn't know what to do. I was bamboozled. But yeah, and I got warning signs saying, don't wear gold, don't wear gold, don't go wear gold. I haven't even told my parents because I don't want them to worry, but this was a while ago. But I'm safe, I'm alive. And yeah, I got the warning signs not to wear gold. Silver, they don't carry. Gold, yes, so take it off. 3 times, didn't listen. I'm hard-headed, yes, I don't know why. Then we go to a favela because my friend really wanted to go, and I kind of wanted to as well, but we went to one of the sketchy ones, and as soon as we get there, we just see no tourists, so I knew, I had an instinct, like, this I don't want to be here. But I went just up like a couple steps, and we get there, and there's this guy with like a little baton looking thing, and he's just staring at us, eyeing us like the whole time. And then he goes downstairs. We take a little picture on these like colorful steps. It's funny in the picture, like I'm not smiling because I was just terrified, petrified, mortified. And he starts dangling his little baton thingy on the window because it had like little bars, and he started hitting it. I guess he was calling his other buddies, and I was like, oh nah, we gotta go. So then I started getting a little nervous because they have like AK-47s up in there and like RPGs, like it's no joke. So I end up saying, yo, let's leave. We end up leaving. We made it safe and sound. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. But overall, just don't wear gold. Go to a favela, do some research because we didn't, and go to a good one because there's very safe ones. But yeah, Brazil was a movie. I really recommend going. I loved it. I would go back again.
Public service announcement. My mother and I were walking around and we were robbed. Whenever you're in Rio, and we should have known better, you're walking around and it's very quiet, there's hardly any people there, it doesn't matter the time of day, go back home. We were in a residential safe place going towards the park area just to walk around when I spotted someone in their motorcycle just kind of going around in circles. I instinctively knew we gotta go back. That's when I told my mom, turn around, let's go. I kept hearing the motorcycle just going around and coming back, and I'm like, oh no. He comes with his motorcycle. I'm like right ahead of my mom. He's like, give me the bags. I had my wallet, a couple of credit cards, and cell phone. And he did the same thing to my mom, and I said to my mom, just give it to him. He actually, I don't even know if he had anything on him, but we weren't going to sit there and wait. We just handed him whatever he wanted. It was so fast. It was so fast. But thank goodness we're okay. The only thing that I was extremely bummed about is because I know my mom really loves Rio. She always talks about it. She has great memories and of the times that she was here before. And it's like she says the city is hers. She loves it so much. Unfortunately, after today, she's like, I'm out of here. But I want to say that it was really my bad because, again, I should have known better. If you're in Rio and you're walking around, safety, first thing is make sure that you're in a well-lit and there's activity going on. When the streets, even though nice areas, but they're very quiet, I suggest you go back home. Yes, unfortunate, but we're okay, we're alive, and you know what? Material things, doesn't matter. But don't get discouraged. Rio is beautiful. It's a very magical place. You just have to really be aware of your surroundings, the times you're going out, and again, if it's way too quiet, not a good thing. But there's so many other places in Brazil that you can see that is just extremely beautiful. Just 2 hours south of Rio, you have Araruama, Saquarema, you have Búzios, you have Cabo Frio, all of these places that are just absolutely stunning. But Rio itself, yeah, today was just not a good day. You know what I'm saying? Just be safe.
Hi guys, I'm back. This is my partner Rohan. He is traveling with me around South America, and he's also a financial advisor, so it's great. So we're both working and traveling and experiencing this amazing continent. So yeah, but today's video is actually about what happened to us on New Year's Eve in Rio. So we basically spent New Year's Eve on Copacabana Beach in Rio watching the amazing fireworks, and we almost got mugged. And I say almost because
they didn't manage to take anything.
Yeah, and that's because we were actually very prepared. So we read a lot about the safety issues in Rio, so we made sure we actually took precautions. So I was wearing one of these, which is an RFID fanny pack. It's very thin, it's from Kathmandu, so all our money and my phone was in here as well. But we thought we were actually quite safe because there were thousands of people around us, there were police outposts everywhere, and we took all these precautions to make sure we didn't actually stand out. But despite all of that, I suddenly felt a hand very aggressively go into my pocket and rummage around, obviously trying to find something. Now, it took me a few seconds to realize what was happening because this person was also yelling. And as I turned around, he tried to hit me. And because I turned around at the right time, his fist only grazed my head. But incredibly scary experience, and I just stood there completely shocked. And I expected this person to run away at this point, but he stood there steadfast, staring at me dead in the eyes and carried on yelling at me. Now, obviously, we don't speak Portuguese, so we had no idea what this person was saying. And Roma started pulling me away because she said we just need to walk away from this. And someone started asking me what happened. I went to tell him we almost got robbed, and Roma said, don't, because we don't know who this person's friends are. And she was completely right. Because as I looked around, people were looking at me as though I was trying to start something. And scariest experience, honestly, it was just very, very shocking that this was actually happening amongst a crowd of people with police around us as well. But like Roma said, thankfully we were prepared. Because this is so thin, you can't really see it under my t-shirt, so he didn't really know that it was there.
Yeah, and we were like dressed real casual, no jewelry, never had our phones out, no watches, nothing. We were in an area which had heaps of tourists and stuff as well, so yeah, it was...
Yeah, and we thought it may have been an isolated incident, but after the fireworks, we ran into two Canadian people who had their phones stolen from their hands as they were filming the fireworks as well. So, what our point is wherever you're traveling, please do your research, look into the safety aspects of things, make sure you're taking precautions, make sure you're well researched in your preparations, and make sure you're doing the right thing as well. The world is stunning, Brazil was amazing, this continent is absolutely beautiful, but please be careful wherever you're traveling, be it South America or elsewhere.
Rio is not safe, and if you go to Rio, you will definitely get robbed. Is what so many people told me before I actually went to Rio, and I'm here to tell you that is not true. Again, this is me just speaking from my own experiences, so other people might have different experiences. But when I was in Rio, I genuinely felt really, really safe. Don't get me wrong, I know there is violence that happens there, and I definitely stayed in the more touristy parts, which were a lot safer. But in the touristy parts, I felt super, super safe. And I mean, like any other big city, you do have to take precautions. But one thing that really surprised me about Rio is that so many people told me before I went not to use your phone in the streets because it will definitely get robbed. But literally everybody had their phones out, and I became a bit complacent. Definitely was taking my phone out a lot on the street, and I had no problems with taking my phone out on the street. Not that I would recommend whipping your phone out in the middle of the street, but I'm saying, like, it's really not as bad as everybody says it is. I expected to see so many robberies. I expected to have my phone out and someone steal it straight out of my hand, but that is definitely not the truth. So I would say if you are going to Rio, definitely just be street smart, definitely stay in the more safer areas, and yeah, just don't be stupid and you'll be 100% fine.
I got robbed in Brazil on the beach. Yeah, they told me not to walk home on the beach by myself.
And you just did
late at night or early in the morning.
What'd you have to give up?
It's like $7. It was like, they were like kind of nice about it.
Oh, that's cool.
They were like, sorry, we're really hungry. And I was like, hey, thanks for not stabbing me, guys. And then when you're getting robbed, you're completely out of your body and you're just like,
That is a kind of a cool way to rob someone. Sorry, we're really hungry.
They went through my phrase book and they were laughing at stuff that I had circled. It was like, eu quero você. It was like, I want you.
Tira o celular do bolso, bota na frente, muito ladrão.
Muito ladrão?
É, sim, meu celular pra frente.
Sim?
É, viu?
Ok, obrigado, huh? No? Obrigado. I ate some of that stuff yesterday, it's horrible.
Vai pegar o dinheiro, vai tirar o dinheiro. Tá na mão dele o dinheiro, vai pegar.
Damn. So he was like, tá bom. Alright. Ok. Não, tá bom, amigo. Tá bom, obrigado, huh?
Sou preto, pobre, mas tenho uma dignidade, um caráter de respeito.
Ok.
Vamos trocar depois comigo? Moro na rua. Eu sou preto, pobre, tenho uma filha pequena, bambina. Preciso cuidar dela.
Espera, deixa-me buscar.
Tá bonito, né?
Sim, espera, amigo. Obrigado, amigo.
Obrigado, dinner.
Okay. That guy was telling me to put my phone away because there's a lot of thieves here or something. Where are the thieves?
When I told people that I was going to Brazil, every single person was like, you're gonna die there. You're not coming home. Like, you're gonna die there. It's sketchy as fuck. And I was like, you're crazy. Like, I'm gonna be fine. And the first 95% of the trip, I was like, this place is awesome. Like, nothing's been wrong. The last, like, 4 days, shit got a little bit weird. So we're in Rio de Janeiro for, like, 3.5 weeks. And then we go to the Amazon jungle for, like, a week and a half. And the last 4 days, we're in Manaus, which is one of the most dangerous cities in Brazil. So it was a little bit like, something could go wrong. But honestly, most of the days there, it was, like, chilling. Like, it was vibing. It was cool. Like, I was like, cool, it's safe around here. The last night there, we're going out to dinner with a bunch of our friends from the Amazon Jungle Tour, and one of them is like a local from Brazil. He doesn't show up. He's not at the dinner. So I'm calling him, I'm texting him. We're literally all sitting there upset, like he ditched us. Our last night here, and he's ghosting us. He's not gonna show up to dinner with us. Yeah. So I call him, he doesn't answer. Hour and a half later, we're done with dinner, we're all walking back to our hotel, and bang, 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 he calls me. So I pick up, and I'm like, where the fuck were you, dude? Excuse me, like, very rude of you to ghost us. He's like, oh, sorry, I just saw some girl get robbed, so I chased down the robber, beat him up, and then took her phone back. I'm sorry, you did what? Like, sorry, what just happened? I was like, where did this happen? He's like, oh, I'm in the alley behind your hotel. Okay. Great place for that to happen. So that was fun, but just, like, keep your eyes out if you're in Brazil.
I have officially made it to the blackest city outside of Africa, and that is Salvador, Brazil. And by the blackest city, I mean that 80% of the people here in Salvador, Brazil identify as Afro-Brazilians. Now, Salvador, Brazil is so rich in culture, and it's so empowering of just being black in general. When you do get here, you'll see how proudly they do embrace their African roots. Now, if you didn't know this, Salvador, Brazil was the first capital of Brazil. Unfortunately, due to slavery and colonization ties of the Portuguese, 12 million Africans were brought here, specifically Yoruba people in Nigeria, Benin, and some parts of Sudan. Now, this plays an important role in formulating their culture that they have here in Salvador, Brazil. They have this religion called Candomblé, which is an Afro-Brazilian religion. It's very spiritual, but like in many religions, it kept the people going. And the religion of Candomblé, they chant in Yoruba. You'll also see its West African ties by the food that they eat here. Their food is rich in palm oil, and a lot of okra is found in their dishes. And it took me back to Senegal, specifically the cuisine of soup kanja. Now, most of you probably seen Salvador, Brazil in the Michael Jackson video of They Don't Really Care About Us. And this specific city in Brazil deserves so much love and popularity. The culture here is absolutely beautiful, and it's just amazing.
3 mistakes not to make when you're traveling in Brazil. Going on a favela tour. These shanty towns are not safe. You could get caught in crossfire between locals and police. Plus, poverty tourism is just so ick. Scrimping and saving on hotels. If ever there was a time to spend decent money on hotels, this is it. Safety is key here. Uber is actually a safer option for traveling in cities than using public transport.
Story time about how I got robbed from my hotel room in Brazil. So I just came back from a week in Rio de Janeiro for Carnival, and you know, you hear all these things about Rio, you know, don't be flashy, don't have your phone out, be aware, and all of that is true, right? Like, don't be dumb when you travel. It's the same story wherever you travel. Don't be dumb, don't be careless. However, I will say I felt very safe in the streets of Rio. Maybe I just got lucky because I did hear things later on about people getting their phones stolen, getting robbed, but for the most part, I didn't experience that. I felt very safe. I'm very lucky that I left Brazil without getting mugged or robbed. Not the case though, because obviously I got robbed in my hotel room. So I took $300 cash with me to exchange and have cash in Brazil because I didn't know, you know, if places take card, whatever. But I quickly realized everywhere takes card. Even the beach vendors, they have their little machine and they take Apple Pay. So I didn't exchange all my money. I exchanged maybe half. I exchanged 120 bucks, meaning I had $180 left, and I kept that in my hotel room because I felt like it would be safer to have it there than be carrying it out and about in the case that I got pickpocketed. And so I had it in my bag, in a zipped up pocket, and, you know, tucked away. Not the most secure of spots, not the most hidden, but also I didn't think I'd get robbed in my hotel room. And so we got room service, our room cleaned one of the days, and as soon as I came back that day after getting our first room service, I checked my bag and the cash was still there. I was like, oh yes, like didn't get robbed, didn't get stolen by the house cleaners or whatever, or the room keepers. And so the rest of the trip, we actually didn't get room service. Nobody technically came into our room the rest of the trip because we kept forgetting to put the little room service sign on our door, or we would wake up late. So we just got new towels that they would give to us, and for the most part, nobody came into our room. So I stopped checking if my money was still in the bag because nobody was coming into our room. And the same thing for one of my friends. She didn't exchange all her money. She kept her money in the room, and we kind of stopped checking. We were, I guess, a little bit careless and not making sure that it was still there. But again, no one was supposed to be coming into our room. Nobody technically came into our room. And so on the last day, the day that we check out, our checkout is at 12, but our flight isn't until 10. So we actually ask if we can keep our stuff in their little lobby. They hold your luggage for you. And so we left our luggage. I, again, was careless at this point, and I didn't check if I had the cash at that point. But we went out and about, we did some last minute shopping, and then when we came back, we were rearranging our things to head to the airport. And that's when I finally looked and I was like, oh, I'm missing $180. Like, it's not where it should be. And so I started thinking to myself, I was like, did I move it? Did I put it in another bag? Did I take it out at any point? But I was like, no, I left it there. And so I told my friends, I was like, I had $180 in here and it's gone. And my first instinct was maybe they took it when they held it for us downstairs in the hotel. But the thing is, later on, my friend realized she was also missing $160 that she didn't exchange, but she had taken her wallet that she thought had all of her cash with her that last day. She took it with her and it didn't get checked in the downstairs lobby. So it couldn't have been taken then if we were both missing money. It could not have been taken when we left our stuff downstairs after we checked out, because her money wouldn't have been missing because she had her wallet with her. And so we were both like, maybe we misplaced it. She's like, I was moving a lot of stuff around. It's probably going to be in one of our bags. I was like, I'm going to check my check bag, my carry-on, all the pockets of my bags when I get home. She's going to do the same. She got home before me and she texted me and she's like, I'm basically unpacked and there's no money. I go home, I unpack, I look through everything, there's no money. And so that means someone came into our room that wasn't room service technically, because we didn't get room service. They didn't clean our rooms. Our rooms were kind of a mess the entire time. And looked through our things and took all of our cash, very boldly too, because imagine, I guess, if we would have checked every day still, if our money was there, we would have known the exact moment it went missing. We could have maybe talked to the hotel, asked to see cameras, because there was a camera right outside of our room. But who knows, maybe they were all in all night. Maybe the entire hotel is like, no, they're not working, or no, you can't see it. But they came up on $350 from the both of us, and I feel a little violated too, because that just means, again, someone was in our room unknowingly and looking through our things and took all of our cash. And yeah, what the fuck?
So I'm a black solo traveler from the US, currently solo traveling through Brazil right now, Salvador specifically. One of the things I've noticed here in Brazil more than any other country that I've been to is the racism and classism, which I think is rampant in all of Latin America, but specifically here, I've never seen it in full effect. I'm seeing the privilege in real time of my nationality in the way that people treat me here. When I was shopping in Ipanema and Lublin, people would straight up look at me crazy, like, why are you in here? Or mean mug me, or just straight up disregard me, until they realized I didn't speak Portuguese, or my Portuguese is pretty broken. And then they'd be like, oh, where are you from? And then I'd be like, oh, I'm from the US. And all of a sudden, y'all, the switch up was crazy. All of a sudden, they were so nice, so accommodating when they realized I wasn't a black Brazilian.
And it's so uncomfortable and actually heartbreaking to see that this is like a problem in Brazil.
All right, story time. So I'm here in Rio de Janeiro, and a lot of people told me how dangerous it is, how to do not take a lot of money out, so on and so forth, which like I definitely been listening to. So while I was walking around today, I've been here for a month. I have had no issues, but today I got mugged / attacked. I always wear my necklace that it just means a lot to me, and today I was walking back to my Airbnb, and I got stopped by this guy, and he was telling me how he's hungry. Of course, in Portuguese, he was telling me how he's hungry and could I help him with food. And I said no, no, simple as that. And I kept walking, and then he said please, and I was like no, and he then again said please, just a little bit of food. And then I said okay, how much are you asking of me? And that's when he told me how much, and I didn't understand him because I don't know a lot of Portuguese. So I said no entendo, and he said he had this look in his eye, and I think that's when he understood I was not Brazilian, even though because a lot of people automatically think I'm Brazilian because of my curls and my melanin skin, but it's not too dark, so I don't look African American like I am. So he then pointed at his neck, and once again, I don't know what jewelry is in Portuguese, and I don't know what mugging sounds like. So he was like this and started telling me something, and I was like, no entendo, no compreendo. And he's like looking around, and that's when it clicked in my head, because he was looking around to see if anybody was gonna stop him if he mugged me. So that's when I was like, no, never mind, no entendo, no. And I started walking, and then that's when he grabbed me by my neck and grabbed the chain at that, and I did this to kind of keep the chain there and grab the chain because it means a lot to me. And I was like, okay, literally thought, okay, should I fight? And if so, what should my first move be? And then all of a sudden I feel hands behind me touch me. That was the third guy that popped out. And that's when I lifted my neck, let them take the chain, and I scratched the main guy I was talking to and kind of ran / walked off. So long story short, if you're going to wear jewelry out, please hide it until you get to your destination, and make sure you walk in groups if you are out and about, especially at night. And then for people that look Brazilian, like melanin, curly hair, so on and so forth, I would just keep your mouth shut if you're not Brazilian, because once they understand that you cannot speak Portuguese or that you're not Brazilian, they will definitely see you as a bigger target. Because if I just kept walking after I said no, they wouldn't have bothered me. But as soon as they heard my accent when I was communicating with them and told them no entendo, they were like, oh, he must be American or European or something. So that's when it kind of went downhill. If there's any questions, please feel free to comment them, and please like this video so people can be aware of this crap when they travel. And like I said, if you have any questions, I will answer them as soon as I get a chance. But just watch y'all backs.
I toured the biggest favela in Brazil. Favelas are known to be the most dangerous areas in Brazil. When I saw favela tours on Airbnb, I thought how disrespectful it was to make a tour out of poverty and how dangerous that was. But I did see that this favela tour was hosted by someone who was born and raised in the favela and currently still lives there, using the profit to give back to the community. So you already know me. I took the risk and bought 4 tickets for my friends and I so I could see what the intentions behind this tour were really about. The day came and I was honestly pretty nervous because favelas are known to be extremely dangerous, like like I said. But if it was on Airbnb, we would be safe, right? Anyways, I ordered an Uber to where we would meet our guide, and we were on our way to the favela. We actually ended up getting there at the same exact time as Elsa and Brian. Like, our Uber was right behind theirs, and right away we started looking for a tour guide, but ended up getting super lost in the small market. We finally found our tour guide Alex, and now we're ready to go. These motorcycles came to pick us up and take us all the way to the top of the favela, which I got so excited for because I love motorcycle riding. Once we got to the top, Alex started sharing more on the favela with us. This favela is called Rocinha, and it's the biggest favela in Brazil. And yes, it is ran by the mafia, who have their own rules for this favela. It is not technically separate from the government of Brazil, but the government rather not get involved in this because it gets super dangerous. Our tour guide Alex is in direct contact with these drug lords, and yes, they are on good terms. This specific favela does take care of the tourists since they fund the community. Also, robbing or beating women is absolutely not permitted, and the consequences are very severe, so it is a pretty safe favela. We're also not allowed to record at all in some areas, which Alex lets us know beforehand. This girl recorded, and one of the gang members stood up and tried to snatch her phone. I did not record people for the sake of respect too, but it is normal for people to openly have machine guns and deal substances like out in the open. 70% of the houses in the favela do not pay for electricity, they actually steal it. And they also get their water from these tanks. If someone wants to buy a house here, they need to take it up with the drug lords and have cash ready because the government doesn't give loans for these favela homes since they were just built and never really filed under the government. Once we left the favela, I was honestly pretty relieved. I did learn a lot and can clearly see that these tours were made to educate people on the lifestyle here. It was not an exciting tour, it was not meant to be fun, it was not meant to be beautiful, even though some areas definitely were, but the right word to use here would be eye-opening. I did feel safe, but this is definitely not for the weak. And if you do tour though, remember you're supporting these people with not only your money, but also by hearing their stories.
We were told not to go to the favelas here in Brazil, but here we are going to the favelas in Brazil. We are literally right here. We just sent an address to meet somebody at the bottom of the favela, and we are about to be here. So let's just see what goes on in the favelas in Brazil.
Guessing he's telling us to be careful.
We just pulled up to the favela.
Something about don't put yourself on that.
Yeah. Okay. Obrigada. The Uber driver wouldn't let us out of the car unless we put our cell phones up.
Well, in an immersive and safe way. So it's justify I need to take your name and surname for give some authorization about the local administration, because we go to a non-tourist place and probably it will be hard to film me because never can film in there.
Janeiro is so dangerous that you should avoid visiting? No, this is just a stereotype. However, with reasonable judgment, this is a place to be more careful than usual. The main threat here is theft, so I have a few tips I hope will keep you safe. I do not walk around randomly at night, especially after like 10 p.m. when the streets are empty. If you decide to though, go in a group. Do not go down empty streets ever. Everyone I know here that's gotten robbed did just this. Make sure you stay where it's crowded and well lit. Never feel embarrassed asking for safety tips from anyone. When in doubt, take an Uber. They are quite cheap. Make sure you always know where you are going. Stay alert and keep tabs on who is around you. If you see anyone loitering, including kids, avoid them.
Okay, I'm about to head out for the day, but I wanted to mention this one thing real quick. I'm in Rio de Janeiro right now in Brazil, and I am leaving tomorrow, but being here has just made me realize you need to stop listening to people on the internet and bitches who have never been anywhere in their lives, because my God, before coming here, people made Rio seem like, oh, it's so dangerous, like, oh, you have to watch out, like, don't walk by yourself anywhere, and I'm here now. Granted, I'm not solo traveling this time, I'm actually with like a big group of people, but I'm like, wow, I would honestly feel so comfortable walking around everywhere here. And it's not just like, oh, you know, we're staying in like a nice, ritzy, expensive part of town and then everywhere else is like the slums or something. No, it's like everywhere that we've driven a bus through is so nice. I'm like, what the fuck are people talking about? And I try not to, you know, I try not to give into those stereotypes and shit like that, but I've just heard so much about Brazil, specifically Rio, and it's just, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's just so beautiful here, so nice here, the people are amazing, like, just, it's just, I can't believe the shit that I've heard about this place, and, you know, and it's all from people who have never been here, granted, have probably don't even have a passport. So, yeah, lesson learned, don't listen to people who have never been anywhere and never been to that particular place that they're talking about. Only take advice from people who have actually been there and can actually tell you how it is, because all these other people, they're just going off of stereotypes and generalizations and all this stuff.
Okay, I got lots of questions about how we got scammed in Rio. So, we got scammed on the first day we landed in Rio, but we were in Sao Paulo for a few days before. So we'd already gotten used to sort of how to greet people, that sort of thing. And everyone was really friendly. No one tried to scam us in Sao Paulo. Yeah, so it was great. We had a really good experience. Uber worked great, like no problem. we land in Rio. Now, please note, I've done serious research, so I knew, where to go to the Uber. I knew there's different color-coded Ubers, all of these sort of things, like the waiting area, whatever. Anyway, I call an Uber. It's 75 reals. Please note, I already also on the map have taken note where the airport is versus where we need to go, how long it is, because I obviously wanted to check how far our place is from all of the things that we wanted to see. Okay, get the Uber. Cool, no problem, 75 reals. Now he realizes, this is where the scam comes in, he realizes that we are not Brazilian, because my partner specifically looks Brazilian. Some people say I do, some people say I don't. So it depends. I'm not sure what he thought about me, but I was just tired and I didn't want to I didn't want to read out the numbers for the PIN on Uber. So I just said bon dia, and I gave him I showed him the number. So he must have realized, okay, they're English. And he was nice and whatever. And then the Uber, it was supposed to be a 30-minute trip. The Uber ride kept on getting longer and longer, and I'm like, why are we going? And when I looked in the front, he was taking Waze. He was using Waze, and I was like, sometimes Uber drivers do that, so it's okay. But then when I looked, we were in Barra de Chuca, or whatever it's called. That's on the complete opposite end of the map, which I already knew because I researched, all of the areas in Rio. So I was a bit and I didn't really take note, but he was so friendly to the point where this man even bought chips on the side of the road and gave us chips. Obviously now, because he knew he was taking us for a ride, literally. He was just the friendliest guy. Dropped us off. Our Uber was more than double. It was 186. So he had taken the extreme long way around, hour and a half later, instead of a 30-minute drive. That was the first scam. I only realized it obviously much later. You can't speak the language. I was just whatever. Anyway, cool. That was the first scam. I was already a little bit off Rio, to be honest, because Sao Paulo was such a good experience. And then we decided, okay, cool, let's go to Copacabana. We've now sorted out our groceries, done everything. Cool, let's go to Copa. Anyway, we did the walk on Copa, went to the bottom, to Lemmy, and decided, okay, cool, let's get a drink. The next scam. So, we should have been a little bit more focused, but we were we're in Rio, we're happy, this was my partner's on his bucket list, so we are in a good mood. He's in a good mood. I wasn't in such a great mood because I was scammed. But anyway, this guy actually was serving the people next to us, and they were locals, so we were okay, cool, perfect, whatever. And when we were walking, we saw caprinas and stuff were 9-10 reals. There was 2 for 25. So sort of general idea what things should be costing, right? Anyway, I was okay, can we get 2? And he was cool. And then I was cuánto custo, how much? And he was 100 reals. Oh, I was mad. I was there's no way. I don't want to heckle with people, but I'm not paying 100 reals. Anyway, I got him down, and eventually he said okay to 50. I'm okay, fine. Anyway, I pay the 50. He leaves happy, whatever. And we couldn't have said no because he already had us take a sip to see how strong it was. Another scam. Anyway, so he goes away. 20 minutes later, he comes back. He says, oh, I cancelled the payment. He was very upset. He said, I canceled payment. I was no, I definitely did not. And I even opened my FNB app. I showed him the app, and I was no, here is it. Obviously it was in rand, so I had to tell him this. I said, what's your name, what's your company's name? And he gave me his company's name, and I showed him it was his personal initials. I showed him his initials there. I was this is yours, this is the time, and that's how much it costs in my my currency. And the girl that he asked to like help him translate, like I was trying to tell her the story and explain to him or whatever, and he was saying, no, I cancelled it, and I was like, I did not cancel it. And he was like, well, it's fine, I'm gonna call the police. And I was like, call the police, sir. Like, at this point, I'm so mad with Rio, like, just call the police, it's fine, because it's very clearly states here that the money went off, and why would I cancel a drink? Like, sir, please, like, 150 rand's not gonna kill me, like, it's okay. Anyway, so I said, okay, cool, we'll sit and wait. I have nothing to, I said, go call the police, because there was popo everywhere. So I was like, no, go call them. It's just, what must I say here? So anyway, he leaves. Doesn't come back, does the walk all the way down Copa. So obviously he knew, like, I was not trying to be scammed, because he wanted me to pay again. That's what he wanted. And then the next day when I went to go back just to check, like, maybe there was an issue with FNB or whatever, the amount had actually gone off twice. So that was my first day in Rio, and that's why I was not feeling it. It did get better, and we had lots of fun, and we had some really cool experiences, and we met some amazing people. Shout out to Xenia, she was amazing. She actually went on the Uber app for me in Portuguese, and she was back and forthing with Uber, and she got some money back from me from that trip. That the guy took me on a thing, and I also rated him 1 star, because Uber initially didn't accept the fact that I was complaining about it, because I did try and complain in the app and they didn't accept it. So she was like, oh, no ways. She lives in Rio. She was like, no ways, and she sorted it out for me. But anyway, that was my scamming scams. So don't get scammed in Rio.
Word of warning to anyone doing anything in Rio that requires getting an Uber. There's a really bad traffic problem in the city, and we've now left ourselves late for 2 things. We got away with it yesterday because it was just a free walking tour, but today we're going to Christ the Redeemer, and actually we're not going to Christ the Redeemer because we're going to be late. So word of warning, get your Uber early or use the metro if possible.
I was told not to explore at night in Rio. When I heard there was a free samba show to get a preview of Carnival, I knew I had to go. There were some not so great moments, but more on that later. We start off the day at Christ the Redeemer at 7:20 in the morning. I knew I wanted to be the first car up because I wanted to experience it without crowds, and the train was completely full, so crowds were definitely still there. But I will say these quiet moments in the morning were so worth it. You get about 20 minutes before the next car comes up, so just savor every second. And we actually saw a proposal. It was super cute. Everyone was clapping for them. Brazil is my 49th country and my first world wonder, so definitely a bucket list moment. For lunch we went to Capta Cafe. It's right next to Christ the Redeemer, and I got this tapioca crepe. I was kind of expecting it to be sweet, but was very surprised by the taste, so I added some acai, which was a good pairing. Next we went to Sugarloaf Mountain. The first stop, you get a view of the entire city. We even saw a plane landing, and then the second tram takes you up to the summit. Definitely needed a guarana to hype myself up. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. And as you can see in these videos, we did not get super lucky with the views. I recommend not planning this in advance and just heading there when you see clear skies. One thing I was not expecting to see were so many monkeys. They're just hopping around and are so cool to see, and they come right up close to you. After playing with the monkeys, we went to the Sunday fair in Gloria. It's definitely more of a local vibe, which I love. We got some sugarcane juice and pastels. This market goes on for blocks. You can find anything here, from fresh produce to handmade jewelry, and there are tons of food stalls. You could spend hours here, and I definitely recommend you do. Although it isn't quite Carnival yet, you can really feel it in the city. There's sparkles everywhere. Everyone is dancing. We even came across this group of people practicing. After a long day in the sun, we wanted to fuel up, so we went to Bar do Davi. Their slogan is "From the favela to the world," and although the original location is in the favela where Davi grew up, this new location is in Copacabana. You might recognize it from Netflix's Somebody Feed Phil. This is hands down the best meal we had on our trip to Rio. These ribs with pineapple relish are so freaking good. As the sun set, we heard of an event at the Sambadrome. It's a place where samba schools compete with elaborate costumes, music, and floats. It's a gigantic amphitheater, and it's completely free for anyone to enjoy. And while that sounds amazing, as you can see in the videos, it was coming down. To make matters worse, our Uber driver refused to follow the route, constantly made wrong turns, dropped us off on a random side street, told us to walk the rest of the way, and then my boyfriend and I got separated. We stuck out like sore thumbs here, very clearly Americans. But once we finally got ponchos, met up with people that we know, we were able to relax relax, and finally enjoy the night. So despite all this, I do recommend you visit the Sambadrome when you're in Rio. Feel the energy and excitement of Carnival. But if you can't go in real life, I'm gonna turn on the sound so you can hear what it was like. So I guess it's okay to explore Rio after dark.
If you're traveling to Brazil, to Rio specifically for the first time, then I'd recommend you don't do these things. Don't stay anywhere else than the southern part of the city, which is Zona Sul. It's called Zona Sul because those are the southern neighborhoods of Rio de Janeiro, and they are considered to be the safest. So if you're traveling for the first time, I recommend you stay in those neighborhoods. I've stayed in other neighborhoods that are considered a little bit more dangerous, but I was fine, but also because I took other safety measurements. Second thing is, I don't recommend you go without any knowledge whatsoever of Portuguese. Learn at least a little bit of basics, because Brazilians, especially in Rio or anywhere that is not Sao Paulo, don't usually speak English that well. So I highly recommend you learn a couple of basic sentences you need to get by, just like basic things you need. The third thing, which is very important in Rio, is that you don't wear any flashy jewelry. So this I'm not wearing in Rio. I dress as simple as possible. No fancy gold jewelry, especially gold. You can wear silver, but no gold jewelry, especially earrings, chains. Someone could just come and rip it. I'm speaking from experience. So don't do that. Fourth thing is, don't walk around with a camera, phone out. Always keep an eye open at your surroundings. If you need to take your phone out, keep an eye open and where you do that. Don't walk around like this, you know, with your stuff up. Girls, what I usually do is just take a little bit of money and put it just right here, and then my phone also right here, and then I just have like a tank top and my shorts, and that's it. I have nothing on me, that's it. Or you can get a fanny pack and put it like, you know, here, so you have it safe. And also, don't take the bus in Rio. That's where most assaults, when they happen, they usually happen on the buses. The bus is not considered safe. Take either an Uber or the metro, which is very safe. There are always safety guards in the metro, and there's even a car just for women. So all in all, if you take these safety tips into consideration, you'll be fine. These are things that people from Rio, Cariocas, they do themselves. So you won't really see people walk around with flashy golden jewelry and stuff like that, because they know that it might actually drive attention to you. Just try to blend in as much as you can. Just wear simple stuff, tank top, shorts, and Havaianas, flip-flops. That's it, and you'll be fine.
So that's it for Brazil. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Leave down your comments in your opinions down in the comment section. And as usual, like I say, all these vacation trip videos are to prepare you guys to have a better vacation, because I don't want y'all to go out there and just have a badass experience and be like, oh my god, I didn't do no research. Because as y'all have had in a couple of those videos, some people even were telling you guys, learn from a mistake, do your research, because they did not. So this is an opportunity to learn. Don't take it the negative way. Like I say, I'm not bashing any countries. I just look for destinational places where we can talk about like our experiences. Like I said, summer's coming, spring break is here, vacations, everybody is outside, so we're gonna protect each other. Each one teach one. That's always going to be my goal on this channel. If I can teach, if I can elevate and help the human race, then that's just exactly what I'm gonna do. So I don't know what to say, but other than that, I want to say again, if you missed it in the beginning, thank you so much for 22,000 subscribers. Yeah, we keep going up. We're moving up the ladder. Thank you so much to my day ones, to the new ones. If you want to join the gang, make sure you hit that subscribe, turn on your post notification bell, so every time I drop, you literally have fast dibs. Because like I told my day ones in a couple of videos ago, I told y'all, bro, like I know I went MIA for like 7 days because I was doing content creation for my business. But this is me showing my consistency, showing up, and I'm still working overtime to bring you guys the best of the best content. So make sure you hit that notification bell. So with that being said, make sure you hit all the playlists that I have out for you guys. Make sure you tap in, make sure you share it up, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye.
Hey Zuma, you taking off?